How do ultra-processed foods impact our health based on scientific evidence? Scientific evidence in 2024 continues to underscore the adverse health outcomes associated with the consumption of ultra-processed foods, UPFs. Research has demonstrated that high intake of UPFs is linked to increased risks of obesity, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and even mortality. These findings stem from the nature of UPFs, which often have poor nutrient profiles, high levels of sugars, fats, and additives, and displace more nutritious foods in the diet. Studies highlight that ultra-processed foods are associated with not only direct health issues like heart disease and diabetes, but also broader impacts such as worsening sleep quality and mental health conditions like depression. Moreover, the pervasive use of additives and the high levels of processing may lead to the formation of harmful compounds during food processing, which further contributes to health risks. Given these significant findings, there is a strong push for public health actions to reduce consumption of UPFs. Strategies being suggested include implementing front-of-pack labels, restricting advertising, and making unprocessed or minimally processed foods more accessible and affordable. Researchers are also calling for more comprehensive studies to explore the exact mechanisms through which UPFs affect health and to develop targeted dietary guidelines to mitigate these effects. The impact of ultra-processed foods on health has been increasingly studied, and by 2024, a substantial body of scientific evidence has underscored several negative effects associated with their consumption. 1. Obesity and metabolic syndrome. Studies have consistently shown a correlation between high consumption of ultra-processed foods and an increased risk of obesity. These foods are often high in calories, sugars, unhealthy fats, and salt but low in fiber, contributing to weight gain and associated conditions like metabolic syndrome, a cluster of conditions that includes increased blood pressure, high blood sugar, and abnormal cholesterol levels, which can increase the risk of heart disease, stroke, and diabetes. 2. Cardiovascular disease. Research links ultra-processed foods to higher risks of cardiovascular diseases. A high intake of these foods is associated with poorer heart health due to their high levels of trans fats, saturated fats, and sodium, which can lead to increased blood pressure and cholesterol levels. 3. Type 2 diabetes. There is a significant association between the consumption of ultra-processed foods and the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. This relationship is often attributed to the high sugar and simple carbohydrate content of these foods, which can lead to insulin resistance. 4. Digestive health. Ultra-processed foods typically lack fiber, which is essential for gut health. A diet low in fiber has been linked to various digestive problems, including constipation and an increased risk of gastrointestinal disorders. 5. Cancer. Some studies suggest a possible link between the consumption of ultra-processed foods and an increased risk of certain types of cancer. This risk may be related to the additives, preservatives, and byproducts formed during processing, such as acrylamide. 6. Poor nutritional quality. Ultra-processed foods often displace more nutritious foods in the diet. They tend to be lower in vitamins, minerals, and other beneficial nutrients, contributing to overall poorer nutritional status and health. 7. Mental health. Emerging research suggests a correlation between diets high in ultra-processed foods and risks of depression and anxiety. The exact mechanisms are still under study, but they may involve the effects of these foods on gut health, inflammation, and nutrient imbalances. These findings are supported by various large-scale cohort studies and systematic reviews that emphasize the need for dietary patterns focusing on minimally processed foods to promote health and prevent disease. Reducing the intake of ultra-processed foods and replacing them with whole foods, rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins, is widely recommended by health professionals. The foods are designed for convenience, appealing taste, and long shelf life, but they are typically low in nutrients and high in calories, sugars, and saturated fats. Ultra-processed foods, UPFs, are food items that have undergone significant processing and typically contain many added ingredients such as sugars, oils, fats, salt, preservatives, artificial colors, and flavors. These foods are often made from substances extracted from foods or synthesized in laboratories. Examples of ultra-processed foods include soft drinks and sugary beverages, packaged snacks like chips and crackers, packaged breads and buns, instant noodles and soups, processed meats such as sausages and hamburgers, frozen or ready-to-eat meals, ice cream and confectionaries, cereals and cereal bars, pizza. What are the replacements for processed foods? In a Mediterranean diet, which Harvard Medical School supports, replacements for processed foods primarily include whole, minimally processed foods. These replacements are fruits, vegetables, nuts, legumes, whole grains, and olive oil. The diet also emphasizes consuming fish and seafood instead of red and processed meats. The focus is on natural foods that are low in processed sugars and fats.